What's going on, EoP sports fans? It's Wednesday night. It's 8:30. It's time for EoP. I'm Big Al,
And I'm Joe Sheeran.
and we are here with EoP Live to bring you all the crazy Philly stuff going on in your neighborhood here in Philadelphia. Guys, thank you for joining us tonight. It's good to be back in studio, Joe. It's good to see your face in person. I feel like it's been a while.
I am one handsome SOB.
You are. I mean, your wife's a lucky woman. I tell her that on a
I tell her
constant
that
basis.
daily.
And I'm sure she listens every time you say it too. But guys, welcome in. We have a lot to cover, all 4 for 4 and so much more tonight, as we always say. But we're gonna kick it off with a little springtime Phillies baseball. I feel
Oh,
redundant
man.
when I say it, but I feel so good, so
Dude,
warm, so happy.
I'm telling you right now, I'm watching the game earlier. It's finally on TV on NBC Sports. And I honestly just feel this joy come over me. And I can honestly say this. My life gets a little bit better every spring training.
You know, people complain about how many games there are in the season a
Like a
little bit,
pound sand.
but is it nice to know when you come home on a weekday or on a weekend, if you're just chilling out outside in your backyard or in your living room, whatever, that there's a good chance there's going to be a baseball game on. I mean,
100%.
I love it. I can't get enough of it, guys. I remind you that this is brought to you by PhillySportsTrips.com, CherryInjuryLaw.com, Sherry'sTickets.com, and DolansBar.com. They're all the great sponsors that make EOP possible. Daniel Berry, yo, what's going on, brother?
What's up, dude?
Mike Green, thank God Cal Peterson has been released. That guy couldn't goalie a beer league.
Hey, do they have a backup goalie at the moment?
I think they're bringing up their the Russian. What's his name?
Okay. I know. It's tough.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Um, but guys, we're gonna jump in. We'll talk about a little of the Phillies. You know, a couple of the big names got their start today, Joe.
Yeah, baby.
I kind of fell for it too. I'll be honest with you, like because we saw a little bit of not Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff, and
Yeah.
I got a little excited, Joe. I know it's a conversation we have every year, and I know we kind of come to the conclusion if it's just what it works, it is what it is,
Yeah.
and go with it. I would kind of like to see what happens if he's not in the leadoff, but we'll get to that later. But as I said, the big three right up here in the screen, you had Alec Boehm, JT Remuto, and Bryce Harper all getting
The big dog.
getting their chances today. We saw as the graphic noted earlier on the EOP social media. I saw JT with a solo home run after working a full count and against a guy throwing 99 miles per
Yeah,
hour.
it was outside too. He had a stretch for it a bit too, and he connected.
Bryce singles and scores a run. Boom, first swing of the season was first swing, first pitch, right?
Yeah.
2-run jack, and I'm back, baby. I'm
Yeah.
back on the Phillies train. World Series or bust, brother. Like,
I know. I get so excited, and like Lex said to me the other day, she's like, "Didn't you just post something on EOP about not getting overly upset or not getting overly
that's a
confident?"
Phillies
I
fan
was like,
for you.
"Listen, I'm gonna do me, okay? This is my process."
Yeah, let me do my thing and just
Yeah, and Boom almost hit a second one out too, and it was a double. So I mean,
yeah.
this kid looks like he's he's putting together a solid season.
You're seeing guys like Whit Merrifield already doing producing. That guy
God, I
he's
love it.
batting over 300. I know,
Yeah.
again, few games in the spring training. Not going to get super excited about it, but I will.
I've
I
been
will
wanting
gush.
Whit Merrifield on this team for years.
We've been talking about it
Every
since
trade deadline.
2021.
Yes.
I found the
Every
video.
deadline for the past 3 or 4 years, I've been saying Whit Merrifield because of how versatile he is on the field. I mean, we're like he started today at second base, but he could also play left. He could also play center. He could also play third. He could like this guy is a utility knife out on that field, and and the bat is just an absolute plus.
Absolute plus. And it's good to see these guys starting to jive early with each other. Again, we saw Trey Turner look awesome this time of year last year
Yep.
and completely essed the bed for the first 3 quarters of the season. So,
You know what though? Like they did have the USA baseball. Schwarber was playing, Turner was playing, and they were both playing very well too. I do think that it played a little bit of a toll on them going into the season because they didn't have the normal off season that they were used to. They didn't have the spring training. I think they came in with like 10 days left before the season started.
yes, A,
So,
go Phillies.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it took longer than I would have liked to for Trey to turn it on. But me being in the stands that night, I was the first one out of my seat. applauding. I do feel like I was a major part of his turnaround during the
Oh, it's
season.
100% you, Joe.
There's no doubt
I'm
about it to me.
pretty sure
There's
they
no
said it,
doubt
that
about it to
Joey
me, Al.
Sheeran, it was all
Yes.
him.
So I think he's gonna get off. I think he's gonna be just fine.
Now, like I said, your post you put away, it was a week or two ago, I remember. It's right, like, but we all say
Yeah.
that to ourselves. We like, oh, like I even say, I do the post game shows with Mike, Pat, and Matty B, and we sit there and go, guys, we know how this is, but at the same time, you can't help yourself. You
Yeah.
just can't like
You
not
get
want.
excited.
And then I guess also when you watch the Braves continually be that good during the regular season, but choke in the postseason,
Mhm.
it kind of plays on you a little bit in that sense. So, but again, I don't know any other, even football, for as big as a monster in the professional sports world it is. I don't get excited for preseason games. I don't
I
get
was
excited.
thinking this exact thing earlier.
Yeah, I watched a couple hockey games that they televised before the NHL, but I don't get like super excited about it. And then G League stuff, I don't buy into at
No.
all because those guys look like superstars, and I never see it sniff the court at the end of it all.
Dude, this exact thing you were saying right now is exactly what I was thinking to myself earlier. As I'm waiting for 105 for the game to start, I'm thinking to myself, I am so damn happy right now. I'm about to see Bryce Harper and JT and Alec, start their spring training, their first game of the season. And I love this team so much. And I honestly can say I don't get that feeling for the beginning of football. It's preseason. Am I happy for the first game of the season of the Eagles? Absolutely. But nothing, not even close to how I feel about the Phillies in this time of year.
And like I said, if you ever get the opportunity, not you, but people listening, anybody, but you too, if
Yeah.
you get the opportunity to go down to Florida for spring training, it is a thing that you have to bucket list at least once. But you go once, you're gonna go again. And like I said, we know, and I tell you, this is how quickly things change with spring training. Because you go to phillysportstrips.com, right? Spring training's sold out down there,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
It is sold out. You might be able to get in some of their tailgates or something if you go down, if you're already on your way down or you're down there, but it's sold out. But this summer of baseball is locked down with phillysportstrips.com. You can go to London. That already sold out, Joe.
Yep.
But if you happen to be in London and you want to get in on a party, you can still go to phillysportstrips.com. But they got the Baltimore trip, that day trip, Camden Yards, just there, right, Joe?
I was just there on Saturday, and I will say this: there is a bar across the street from Camden Yards called Section 771.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yep.
Great guys there.
Yep. They have Boston
Great food.
in June as well. Don't forget the Chicago trip in early July. And don't forget Pittsburgh. By the way, a great trip. You guys, Pittsburgh, who cares? Pittsburgh is a pretty okay city. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's a fun time when you're with other fans, but PNC Park,
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Beautiful. Permane Brothers sucks.
Yeah.
Go to Fatheads.
Yeah, don't get out of that. Don't go over that. But they also have union trips coming up. They have one this upcoming month,
Look
March
at these
15th,
guys.
18th, to Austin. That's Austin, Texas, as well as a Nashville trip. If you haven't been to Nashville, bucket list as well. Just a great place and easy to get to and inexpensive to go down. So go to phillysportstrips.com. Sign up now. Check it out. Joe, and speaking of these great Phillies players, a couple of these guys have made they made the top 100 of the Phillies.
Yes, sir.
Or the MLB. Bryce Harper at number 11. Is that high or low for you, Joe? For Bryce?
I'm okay. Would I have liked to have seen him in the top 10? Of course.
Do you think there's 10 other guys you would put in the top 10 above him, though?
I think Bryce is a top 10 player in the league. I do. In fact, I think he could be close to a top 5. I don't like Ronald Acuna Jr. was number 1.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do, because he is a really great talent. Do I hate saying it? Of course. But could I put an argument in there for Acuna not being better than Bryce Harper? Sure.
Well, he was ranked 25 the year before.
Who, Bryce?
No,
Acuna.
Acuna. That's a big jump.
I think he was injured that prior season, though.
That's part of it, yeah. Do you agree with Mookie Betts above him at number 2?
No.
He was ranked 4th last year. Aaron Judge at
Absolutely
3?
not. Absolutely not.
He actually fell backwards from 2. Shohei Ohtani, should he be above?
Yes.
And he was the number 1 ranked
Yes.
last year. He's at 4. And I guess that's because he can't pitch.
But that's almost not even a fair comparison, because number one, Bryce doesn't pitch, and Ohtani does both. But Ohtani is not pitching this year because he had Tommy John, so he's only a DH. So how is that a fair comparison to anybody else in that top 10 or in this case 11?
Agreed. Freddie Freeman, you
I
think it's fair that he's above him?
that's
I
a
do like
close
Freddie,
one.
even though
Yeah,
he's a
that's a
former
close
Brave and a
one.
Dodger now. I would have loved to see
That's a
him in
close one.
pinstripes. Corey Seager from the Rangers.
Come on, no. Bryce Harper's way better.
He's at 6, Joe.
That's insane.
Guess where he was last year?
Probably like 90.
33. Juan Soto. I think that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, he's Wish.com's version of Bryce Harper.
Trey Turner's better than Juan Soto.
Yeah, and he was ranked 12th last year, popped up to 7.
Bro, Zach Wheeler's better.
The left fielder from the Astros, Jordan Alvarez, even though it's Jordan.
No,
he fell up. He went up to 8 from 9. Garrett Cole.
No, I think Bryce Harper's better.
Okay, and then number 10 was Julio Rodriguez.
Bryce Harper.
So you feel he was shunned.
I think Bryce should be.
Mike Trout's at 12.
Yeah, I saw something.
And he was number 3 last year.
Yeah, I saw something the other day. It was like a headline. It was like Bryce Harper has the career that Mike Trout deserves. Like, well, why? Like they were both phenoms coming into the league. Like it's not
maybe not so much deserves.
It's not Bryce's fault that he number one is. I guess I can say healthier.
Hey, Mike,
but he's more productive.
So you have not too far behind him, 5 spots to be exact. Trey Turner at 16. I think that fits.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And a little further back, number 28, Zach Wheeler, Joe.
I think that's too high for him. He's a guy who is in Cy Young conversations every single year, for not even from just the Phillies era, but from the Mets era too. I mean, this guy is top notch, a 1, 2, 3 top NL pitcher in the league. He should be higher than 28.
Number 46, Sir I don't know why I call him Sir. Mr. JT Realmuto.
I will say this. I don't know if there's any other catchers, or at least how many other catchers are in front of him. But if JT's not the first on
the
this
guy
list,
from I figured he might have been the guy from Baltimore.
Okay.
Adley Rutschman.
So he's the only other catcher above or on this list above JT.
So I'm trying to see right now.
Because okay, if the guy from Baltimore is above JT, whatever. JT to me is the best catcher in baseball. Could you say that he took a little bit of a backslide last season? Sure.
There's one other guy right in front of him, Will Smith from the Dodgers. They put him right at 45.
That's ridiculous too. I think that is more of a clout type of assignment. Like because he's a Dodger, he gets thrown up there. JT is the best catcher in baseball. Like I'm not talking best catcher in the NL. I'm talking best catcher in baseball. I mean, he should be
above
number 1.
all other catchers.
Yes, he should be above all other catchers. And I'm not playing homer. Like it's a fact.
I want to know how you rank, because with the positions, like a starting pitcher versus a catcher, because sometimes a starting pitcher isn't as good as they don't have that catcher that they work with, and or a right fielder versus a shortstop.
Yeah,
like they're two different things in my eyes. I mean, do you base it on their offensive production and then how good at their position they are? I mean, I know you can't base the pitcher on offensive production.
I mean, yeah, especially when it comes to a catcher, because you have to think of the assists down, throwing a runner out. You have to think of course, his batting. There's a lot of different things that has to go.
And then, of course, number 57 is Kyle Schwarber.
I'm a little surprised that he's middle of the pack pretty much.
You thought he'd be higher again?
Well, here's the thing: is like
is it because of his
leads
low
everything
average?
in strikeouts. Like, okay, this is a player everybody is bitching about, or at least has been the past 2 seasons, because of his leading off, his striking out, blah blah blah, whatever it is. And here the MLB is giving the nod, making him literally just outside the top half of the best players in baseball.
Yeah.
Where's the disconnect here? Can people please get off of the riding of Kyle Schwarber? Just let the guy play baseball. They're literally saying he is half of, almost 50 top 50 of baseball's best players right now.
Okay, yeah. Listen, I get it. I try not to be Homer in these situations. I agree with you. I think Bryce should be up a little higher. Trey, I think
it's hard to.
I think Trey's pretty good at where he's at. I think it's fair.
But then again, I'm sitting here and I can argue Juan Soto is not better than Trey Turner. So I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
But they got that bozo above Bryce. So the list is probably stupid.
because you know what, I think from a production standpoint, I mean, probably not as many home runs, but on if you compare their overall careers, time frame, they probably have the same amount. Like batting average is probably Trey Turner leads him in that one, but home runs Juan Soto probably leads in that one. But
Maybe
defensively, Juan Soto is not good.
no, he's not.
He's
Or at
Kyle
least he
Schwarber. He's
wasn't.
Kyle Schwarber out there.
But can we also take this into account? Bryce Harper came back 2 months into the season after having Tommy John surgery, the fastest turnaround from Tommy John that the league has ever seen. And then he also took on another new position. He went from being a right fielder to being a consistent DH to playing first base. I mean, and he's playing like a Gold Glover. You saw him out there with the Web Gems today. We know what he did last season at first base.
Yep.
How does that not get thrown into the thought of him not being a top 10 player? It's ridiculous.
I wonder if the injuries and the Tommy John and just the newness, I guess is the word of the position, makes it maybe why he falls back a little bit until maybe this is come next year if he
poppycock, dude.
If he plays as good as we know he can.
It's malarkey.
Listen, I'll agree with you, but I guess this is how good they are now. You're not projecting them into 2024 in these top 100, correct?
Well, no, I think that they're projecting. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're
I
right.
don't know. Where they are
Depends on how you look
where
at
they
it,
are right now, leading into the season, I guess is how I look at it.
And Bryce Harper is coming off a season where he came back quicker than anybody else in the history of Tommy John surgeries and started a complete new. Hold on, and him taking over first base, they got rid of Rhys freaking Hoskins for Bryce to have first base all to himself. That's telling you something.
Well, listen, again, people say that, and how do I put this?
You don't like Rhys Hoskins.
No, I like Rhys Hoskins, but
that's not what you said off air.
I never said anything bad about Rhys Hoskins. But
I'm glad that chode is in Milwaukee right now.
No, I'm just saying I'm glad the conversation's over, though.
That's true.
Because he was always a question mark. And the only reason Rhys Hoskins got any love last year is because he wasn't here to hate. He wasn't there to make you mad.
That is true.
There was no frustration with Rhys Hoskins last year.
And there has been at least 2 off seasons prior to this last one where everyone was saying,
I'm over
you
got to
trade him. He's a defensive liability. I know I said it in that World Series defeat.
I hate to see a guy lose his. I don't think he was back as a Philly next year or this year, even if he was healthy last year. I really don't. I really don't. There's probably been a higher probability of it, Joe, but I don't know if he's back 100% if he played last year full season.
I'm sure unless
he's a World Series champ, he's a reason that we go to the World Series last year and win.
But the last outside of that World Series where he had some blunders, at first base. The last thing we saw of Rhys Hoskins was the bat spike and the 2 home runs in a game. Being hero for the day. I mean, that is something that ball clubs remember when it comes contract time.
But in all that, it was only half of the postseason he was hot. He was cold in the beginning.
Was everybody too.
He was cold going into it. He had that Brave series.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was after that? There was the
Padres,
which he was okay, and he wasn't world beating. He had a couple good moments in that. He wasn't world beating in it.
He had big home runs there.
And then even when they were doing well in the Ash, he had a couple moments, but he wasn't the
big moments though.
I know, but he wasn't the reason they won.
He's one of the reasons.
He was a good reason, not one of the reasons, not the only reason.
And by the way, I'm sure you've seen him, his pictures in the Brewers.
His mopey pictures?
Oh, my God. Has there ever been a more miserable baseball player?
I mean, Rhys Hoskins, well, first part, you go to Milwaukee.
He signed there.
I like Milwaukee.
What do you get, 17, 18 for the year?
Yeah, but he signed there for the money, Joe, but it's Milwaukee.
I know.
It's got to be boring as all get out there. No offense, Milwaukee, but you suck.
First off, they can take offense to it for
Yeah.
all I care.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
I don't care if Milwaukee is taking offense to you saying that.
Cal tipping out in Milwaukee, wear your jacket, 9 months out of the year.
And the famous words of Alice Cooper, Milwaukee.
But
It's native. It's a Native American name.
honestly, like, uh, he's not where he wants to be. He wants to be here. That's why he's
100%.
mad, and I don't blame him. He's all his friends. This is what he knows. That's different from him. Like, no, like that's like your kid starting school, doing it for 5, 6 years, then you move.
You want to know what the baller move would be?
What?
Is he's there for I think a year and then a club option or a player option. It's one or the other.
Uh,
What if Nick leaves in 2 years? Bryce goes back to right field. Hoskin comes back to finish career as a Phil.
Hoskins would have to he would have to up his defense for anybody to be okay with that. And then he
100%.
could go play left field. He doesn't have to go to
You
first.
see, like that's almost one of my arguments with him not coming back as a Philly is you needed to platoon somebody with Kyle Schwarber in left field, and Hoskins has experience in left field. I'm not saying he was great. I'm not saying he was even good.
Yeah,
But if you want to get Kyle Schwarber off the field that bad,
yeah, but you
at
have
least
that.
two,
You
at
already
least
have
two.
it now.
Right now you do, but not. I mean, the Whit
Last year you
Merrifield.
did too. Once Bryce got back from off, he was able to play. I'm saying he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was fully back from injury. Kyle Schwarber didn't
You're
see
right.
the field
You're,
much.
you're right. You're
And
right.
you had Brandon Marsh. Like, let's not look past what he did last year. I forget it's kind of like that little the unsung hero, especially even when they were struggling
Under the
towards
radar
the
for
end.
sure.
He was the only guy getting the ball on the ground and getting on base. You know, he was giving the team opportunities to win that they did not take. Very unsung hero, and he did it. And he adds speed and defense to the left
Yeah.
field. Johan Rojas, if he can take that next step,
Yeah.
will be huge.
I got to eat a little crow when it comes to Johan Rojas because
Johan.
because listen, I
I'm
know
Team
I've sat
Johan.
here. I know I've sat here and I've bastardized the guy because of
Yeah, why do you hate
his.
Johan?
I don't hate him. I just my
just
thing is that you can't continuously play him in the playoffs when he has like a .071 batting average, especially in like a game 6, game 7. Like it's a big reason why they did not win one of those games because they didn't want to take him out.
That
Topper has said that is one of the biggest mistakes he made was not pitch hitting for him, and I believe it was game 7. It was bases loaded. I believe in like it was either the second or the fourth inning. I want to say the fourth inning because I was actually there and I vaguely remember it. But he says that's one of his biggest mistakes was not pitch hitting Rojas right there because he sucked at the plate last year. And that I'm gonna eat crow on that a little bit because the dude has been out there and we see it on the Instagram and whatever social platform you see it on. But the guy has been working on his swing, whether it's in the U.S. or Venezuela or wherever the hell he's from. And then you see his defense
Bulking
today on
up
the
too,
field.
bro.
Yeah, you see like the area he covers playing on defense. You saw today. So if he can get back to a close to 250 to 300 batting average, I know he was 308 last year. Didn't feel like it. I refuse to believe it.
It was
But if
such
he
a
can,
small sample size.
yeah,
It was
right,
only
right.
like it
If
was
he
only
can
the
get to
middle of
that,
July and on.
if he can contribute,
Mhm.
then I'm fine with him being the starting center
Honestly,
fielder. But I love having Whit Merrifield there
shortest
just in
policy.
case.
Shortest policy.
Yeah.
And with Merrifield, I don't think he's there just for I think Johan Rojas is a little the reason he's there. I think it was the Jake Cave moment, the end of the
Could be
season.
Jake Cave too.
When you were going to put Jake Cave up as your last chance at bat, that's when they said, we need a guy like Whit Merrifield.
Yeah, and
That's-
Topper has already come out and said, like, even though he's, kind of looked at like a bench utility type guy, like, he's going to get plenty of playing time, plenty of at-bats against lefties. So, I mean,
Do you think
he's gonna
Johan starts in the
he
season?
did today.
No, I'm saying like he starts the season. He starts
Yeah,
with
I
the
do.
club, you believe.
Yeah, I do.
Do you believe he starts home opener?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think it's his position to lose at this point.
Yeah, I mean, unless he, something changed between now and spring training,
Right,
he just
yeah.
falls apart. But I mean, he looks good. His defense, they said he's even stronger and faster. And the guy, I don't care. I'll tell you a reason why I'm more excited about Whit Merrifield and Johan in this case too. Is I don't want another freaking power. Yeah, I almost did it.
Yeah.
I almost censored myself there. I FCC'd myself. I don't want another freaking power hitter. I know it sounds crazy to say. I'm tired of it. That's what burned us last year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And where is Mad Mike at? Because he is usually in here chomping on Topper a little bit. He don't like Topper, but I like Topper. But he was one of the big reasons we lost last year without making any adjustments, and he got outmanaged. They thought about it. They said, let's look at this for a moment. All right, these guys don't do good with things they haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
So they started throwing stuff out there they didn't see. These guys are going to swing for the fences. All they're going to do, then we're not going to let them have anything that's going to go over the yard. We're going to throw things. They're going to have to make contact and run. Fine, you want Kyle Schwarber? We're going to put him on base every time.
Yeah.
If they're not going to hit him around, he's not going to no speedster. That's what I'm saying. That's when you might have want to switch Kyle around and from the top of that part. And I know I was on the record saying leave things alone at that point, but I felt that time was just too little, too late. It should have been moved before then.
Yeah, and they actually talked to Merrifield today. I want to say it was like second or third inning, maybe. Yeah, and he was talking about just not only the chemistry of the team and what it's shown him so far, but he was talking about his approach at bat, like how if he has to like scratch out in that bat and just loop one in the right field or left field, like he can do it. Like he has the skill to do that. So yeah, and when he was on base today, they played a little bit of small ball with him, and he did score a run. And he was saying like that is something that he can contribute with during the season is the needed base hit, any type of base hit. You don't have to hit for power. You just got to put the ball in play, and that's something that he really thrives at.
Our boy Phil from Twenty Names said, I said Al nailed it. Jake Cave should never be the guy to make the last out. Now, and
100%.
I'm telling you, that's why I think Witt's here more than that. I think it's kind of a dueling thing.
Have you heard his name at all?
Who?
Jake Cave. Like, is he on the active roster?
Yeah,
he
he's
is.
on the active
Okay.
roster. I think he started. Did he start the first game of the season,
I
the
don't know.
spring training?
It's so or before this one today, it's been so hard to kind of to listen or just follow along because I mean Merrifield's first home run in a Phillies jersey. Like even the Phillies posted on Twitter like there's no video proof of it, but we promise it happened.
Sure.
It's like well, why isn't there video proof of this? Like why aren't all these games on some type of telecast, whether it's MLB.com, MLB Network, just something? Why are there games being played?
The
that are
stadiums
blacked
all
out?
have just cameras. There's no announcing. I mean, just put that up, and you know what? I tell you this right now: if MLB or Phillies app or NBC Sports or whatever, if they said $5 to watch
Done.
to watch the no
Friday's game is a web cast.
yeah, I watch it. Or do you know what? I would put it on my website to draw people to my website.
Hell yeah!
And then fine, I'll watch because nowadays you can put on your phone and move it up. Huh?
Are we allowed, guys? Are we allowed to do that? Can we just post?
Not our website, Philly's website.
I was asking the bigwigs over there.
They're checking with the lawyers, the guys in the briefcase.
Guys, look that up for us.
This guy's in briefcase is going like this right now. Matty B saying Hoskins 2022 in LCS game 5 or games 5 at bat 18 hits 4 home runs 4 RBI 7 222 average 9 Ks 1 error. I think I can live without that. So it was average ish. I mean 4 home runs isn't anything to snarl at, but
no, not at all.
But the rest of it's kind of
and you have to think of when those home runs came.
Moments. I have to remember those moments because the bigger ones came in the Brave series, like the more clutch moment one. I'm trying to remember.
The bat spike did.
Yeah.
I think he had a multi-home run game against the Padres too.
Yeah, he did. It was the.
That's what I'm saying.
Was it the last game?
Timely clutch hits. I'm not saying he was out there outperforming Bryce Harper, but he contributed in a big way.
Can you say he's clutch, or
just
was he a clutch at that one moment?
That's always been the player he is. He always goes on these hot stretches, these cold stretches. You need him to be clutch when he can be clutch. Like you can't overthink it.
I guess so. I'm just saying, like it's his stretches are too stretchy. I guess I don't know how to put it.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
And again, I like him. I would love if there was a spot, but there was just no spot for him. He would be square peg round hole situation. There'd be no good reason.
And also
keep him on the team.
And also the way that they're not spending money right now, there's no way they were going to give him 17 or 18 for a season.
No, and guys, we talk about going to all these games, but you can go to the games as well. Go to sherrystickets.com. Sherrystickets.com, family owned and operated since 1946. Go to sherrystickets.com for all your sports, all your concerts, all your theater options. Doesn't matter where you're at in the United States. Go there, check it out. They have all tickets for all different events. Great, hard to get tickets at great prices. No hidden fees. The price you see on the screen, Joe, is the price you're going to pay. I'm going to pay. Everybody's going to pay. And you save 10% off with that great promo code.
EoP10.
That's right. EoP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. Again, go save great money off the great prices at sherrystickets.com using that great promo code.
EoP10.
That's right. EoP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. Joe, let's change gears here for a moment.
Sure thing.
Let you go ahead. Which subjects you want to move on to? You want to go Eagles?
I think we got to go with Eagles. We had the combine start up yesterday. We have free agency right around the corner. We had a somewhat of a, I guess if you want to call it a press conference of what we heard yesterday from Howie and Nick. Uh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I there's so much that they have to do this off season, and I think I'm finally on your side with this Jason Kelsey thing because Haley comes
I
out
got a
and he
lot of grief
says,
for that.
"No,
I got a lot of
well,
grief
yeah,
for that.
but yeah, it's because you're a dunce." But
Well,
but
Mom, are you here?
but no, the whole Jason Kelsey thing, and Haley is even stretching it now to Fletcher Cox, who Fletcher Cox on a podcast with, I want to say, Cam Hayward, says that I would like to play for the Steelers. So why are we giving the same courtesy to Fletcher Cox that we would to Kelsey, who we know wouldn't go to another team? But when it comes to at least Jason Kelsey, like, you can't give him all the time in the world. Like, we do need an answer because not only will you have to, put up big money to re-sign him, but you have to figure out if you're going to slide Cam Jurgens to center, what you're going to do at right guard. Is it going to be Tyler Steen? Is it going to be a drafty? Is it going to be, the Delco guy, Johan Jackson, I think is, or Johnson, whatever his name is? Are you going to sign a guard? Like, they need to know this within like the next week. Like, I know Haley wants to
I think it should have been by this Friday at the
Haley
latest.
wants to like give these guys, respectfully the time that they need to go through their own process and, talk with the families, think about their health, whatever. I get it. I respect it. But you also have to think of it. And I think Jason and Fletcher probably do know this. It is a business and they can't keep the team on the hook for that long. So the word has to come out in the next couple of days. Am I wrong on this?
I said Friday should have been the other latest for this week. This Friday, this coming up, that'd be 2 days from today.
Okay.
I agree with you, Joe. And like I said, love Jason Kelsey. I was not one of those knuckleheads subscribing. Oh, he can't wear his Kansas City. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't give it. Have fun, bro. Let loose. I don't care. As long as you don't.
He's a 35-year-old man. Who am I to tell him he can't wear his brother's colors?
Yeah, and the other thing, I hate to break everybody who this whole like, oh, he's going to go play for Kansas City, go play with his brother. They have like a really good center.
Yeah.
In Creed Humphrey.
Creed Humphrey, yeah.
And he's younger.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you do that?
Well, I think the people's conspiracy on it was he'd go there and be a backup, and he'd be able to
go be a
retain his health.
backup for another team. I mean, if anybody watched the Kelsey documentary on Amazon, he was crushed when he lost his brother in the Super Bowl. You know that crushed him more than probably any loss in the Super Bowl normally would.
He had the Chiefs' colors falling, confetti colors falling on his head once again this season.
Like I said, his wife's like, I'll never wear colors. True Philly sports fan.
Yeah, she's a babe.
Is she a Delco girl too? Yeah, she's from Delco too. Yeah. And she said, and I get it. I wouldn't wear these other colors either. I love the fact that she was wearing the Bearcat stuff at the Super Bowl instead of. It'd be funny if she just like baller, like just took a jacket off and had like an Eagles t-shirt on underneath.
That would be cool.
But Joe, you said something, and if Phil's still listening, because I was listening to his show over at PSN and Trending the AM, and he brought up something that you posted on the social media, and I retweeted it about Hassan Reddick and the possibility of moving on from Hassan. And one intriguing thing, I actually took notes of it. My notes, and I were going to talk last week with it, but we never got around to it. And possibly moving on from Hassan and signing Brian Burns. And Joe, I think I'm on board with this. I think I agree with this because I'm trying to take the emotional fan out of it. Like, that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm not trying to be a fan. And that's sometimes the hard part.
Well, let me ask you this, because I, sometimes monitor the comments that come in on these posts and everything.
Sure.
And people were saying, well, Brian Burns wants $30 million. Well, Brian Burns probably won't get $30 million, but he's probably also asking for the moon because he wants out of Carolina.
Yeah.
So if he can come to a winning culture, or at least a culture that wants to get back to winning, I mean, you got to think that the Eagles would be in the realm of possibility for him. I'll extend it even further. Hassan Reddick wants $25 million, or at least that's what's rumored that his camp and he wants.
Yeah, we always ask for more.
Would you give the 25 to Brian Burns?
Yeah.
I think I would too.
I think so. Here's my thing: is if you're thinking about paying $25 million for an edge rusher, I'd probably give it to Brian Burns. And again, he comes back to the age in this situation.
Of course.
Yeah, he's what, 4 years younger?
He'll be
3, 4 years?
He'll
3.5.
He'll be 26 in April.
And
And Hassan will be 30 in early September.
yeah. So by the time the season starts, he's 30.
Yeah.
So in the scheme of things, he's that much younger.
And I don't want this to sound like we're taking anything away from Hassan
No,
Reddick,
I
because we're
love
not.
Hassan. And if we could have worked a way out where they're both here,
Yeah. And
yes.
let's just face the facts. If he is here next season for $15 million, yeah, it is a freaking steal. Then he walks, and then you get a third-round pick. I mean, a third-round comp pick because he doesn't come back to the Eagles. I mean, it's a win-win if you ask me.
Let me tell you this much. So I'm looking at it right now. The top 5 edge rushers right now, okay?
Mhm.
And one of them is ludicrous, and I'll get to that. It's the 5th one. I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
I'll let you guess who it is when we get
Okay.
there. Nick Bosa's number 1 with $34 million.
That's outrageous.
It's outrageous. And the position, I'm sorry, it's not that it's not worth $34 million, but it's just not at this point. It's like, but that's the problem. It will be soon. In the next 5, with its cap moving, it will be. TJ Watt, great player. Would love to see him in midnight green. $28 million. That's $6 million less than Bosa. I'd take that in a heartbeat for TJ Watt. But I'm just saying, see the drop off right there. And TJ Watt, to me, I'd rather have him over Bosa.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying because I don't like the Niners.
So 100%.
I don't like the Niners. No. Nick Bosa's a
I think
douche.
Bosa's overrated.
Yeah, but he's a really good. But yes, the
I don't think he's really good.
I think he's overpaid more than
Definitely
he's overrated. Right under him is Joey Bosa at $27 million.
Too.
Who I'm not gonna get started with him.
Chargers, right?
Myles Garrett, he's a little older, but I would take him
Yeah.
probably over Bosa brothers.
I would say Myles Garrett should probably be the highest paid.
And he's at 25.
Right, okay.
And number 5's 24 and a half. And it's ridiculous that he's there. And can you take a guess? There's a connection to the Eagles. Never played for the Eagles, but a connection to the Eagles defensive line.
I mean, I want to say Micah Parsons, but I don't know how they label him, whether it's a linebacker or a defensive end. But he's also probably still on a rookie contract, so it's not Micah Parsons.
Are you sweating the details, Joe?
Just tell me.
It's Montez Sweat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Montez Sweat, because Chicago paid him $24.5 million.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And I don't understand. He's mediocre.
Which is
we got the better Sweat in this situation. In my
100%.
$24 million at number 6 for Rashawn Gary at the Packers. Khalil Mack's making $23.5. Max Crosby is making $23.5.
Max Crosby's great.
Bradley Chubb is making $22 million.
Miami.
Yep. And I wonder if he gets. Can they cut him? Because they have to make. They're one of the few teams that are above the cap. Because I have my notes here because
they cut a couple players that we should be interested in now.
The one I put, me and Fred talked last week, Van Ginkel. Funny name to say.
All right, 3.
And I think you could probably get him for a steal. PFF has him right now at getting around a 2-year, $13 million. I think I see making a 3-year and stretching that out a little bit, where it's only like $5.5, $6 million a year, and getting more out of it, or some sort of incentives. You can do that. And then number 10 would be Leonard Williams of the Seahawks at $21 million, tied with
He's older too.
Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals.
I feel like Leonard Williams has been in the league forever.
Yeah.
If it's, I'm assuming it's the same Leonard Williams, the one that was with the Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that dude's old as balls.
So yeah, like that's my thing. Like, I think if you're going to pay $25 million to somebody, I think it should be Burns.
Mm-hmm.
He played on a bad team, and he still produced.
For a team that is, number one, they took the wrong quarterback in the draft.
The wrong quarterback.
Number 2, they have hired wrong head coaches for the past 2-3 seasons. You would think, knowing that Brian Burns was coming up as a unrestricted free agent and the money that he was going to ask for, you would think that they would, in their right mind, trade him away at the deadline for a couple picks. And for whatever reason, they stood pat. Why? Because you're going to lose them anyway.
They're morons.
Well, yeah, okay.
I think a Clifton guy to come in there and help straighten out that thing with Danny Morgan.
That's right.
Former Delco Clifton prodigy, Miami College Hall of Famer, by the way.
Right?
He's the GM.
Yeah,
he won that job. So yeah, I mean, that's probably why he got the job, because why wouldn't you if you're not going to be able to hold on to him?
A bunch of ass clans down there.
I'm telling you, man, it goes to show you how I mean, their owner's a bit of a wacky dude too. Like, I mean, didn't he get in trouble for like throwing beer or spitting on the fans or something?
Something like that.
He got fined.
I think he threw a cup,
a beer or something.
It was something that someone was a fan was standing up, like yelling into the box, and he stood up and he He like splashed a drink at the person. Yeah.
Because here's my thing: is um, you have to get younger,
Mhm.
and if you're talking about keeping Kelsey, you're talking about maybe keeping Fletcher Cox. Now, let me ask
Cox has to be gone.
you, Joe, what would you only take him for a league minimum? That's it.
I would, yeah. Yeah, if he wants to, like, I
What is the
appreciate what he
highest you
did
would pay?
last year.
I mean, the way he was playing last year, I could take another flyer on him. But what's the highest amount you pay Fletcher Cox to stay?
5-6 million.
I was surprised. I thought it would be a
I
little
mean,
lower.
because you have to look at what he did last season, and I respect what he did last season. He came in and he actually played above what I expected him to. But he also came in and he finally accepted the role of being a mentor to some of these younger guys.
And you know what? I think he's had the role. If he wants to extend his career, he's not going to be able to be a starter.
100%.
And he still produced, and even though this team was not, I mean, even when we were down and out, I mean, Fletcher Cox's name came up a couple
He's
big
got, yeah.
moments.
Fletcher has to kind of take like a sweetheart deal, like Brandon Graham did last season, where he took about half of what he normally made, and he gave up, a lot of snaps, a lot of reps. Like he was not in the rotation as much as he was prior seasons. That's the role Fletcher Cox has to accept if he wants to be back with the Eagles.
Yeah. But I think they have to get younger, and I think Hassan Reddick, if he is not happy with his money and he wants to get paid for what he did, not what
Mhm.
he could do, then it's business. I'm trying to be cold and calculated. I'm trying to be, Howie said one of the things he tried changing after all the Howie hatred we've had for him, that he's got to stop being so emotionally connected to these
Yeah.
players. And if he's going to do that, he's got to say, listen, Hassan, if you can't either abide by the contract we have now or find an extension that works for both sides, then I'm going to have to get something for you.
Yeah.
And I would rather pay the same amount a guy to a younger guy who has the abilities. Ish, I'm not saying he's as good as Hassan, but he could be. He could be.
I would almost say, and I hate to say it this way because it's going to come off disrespectful, but I don't mean it that way. It's almost better off for Fletcher to walk, get another contract for a year or two, just say the Steelers for the example, and then accept a fifth round comp pick, in next year's draft. Like I think that has more value than actually having Fletcher Cox on the team right now for the money that he probably wants.
Yeah. No.
I mean, if it's a sweetheart deal for under $5 million, yeah, do it. But no,
I
if
don't see
he's going to
Fletch doing it
command
though.
a
No,
no, he
again,
probably
nothing
won't.
against Fletch. I just don't see
Right,
him.
nothing against him at
I
all.
mean, listen, I understand at the same time. It's the days of guys staying in for a team for the rest of their entire career are going to be slim to none. I mean, Jason Kelsey's going to be a dying breed in that situation.
The fact that Kelsey, Fletch, and Brandon Graham all have the chance to go out with the team that drafted them it's something that's unheard. Like three of them on a current team. That's something that never happens these days.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a freakish thing. How about this piece of news, Joe? Uh, a certain Dejarius Sneed, who I would, if I'm going to say like would be on my off-season bingo card, one of my
Yeah,
top three guys would be Sneed.
yeah, I
Um,
get it.
are we reading too much into this?
Uh,
The little
not
eagle.
not not anymore. Maybe when it first originally came out, but then word came out yesterday that three of his former teammates in Boston, Scott, Milton Williams, no, was it? Yeah, Milton Williams, and a guy named Herbert Griffin, I want to say, all three of them have been, yeah, all three of them have been trying to, try to tip things the Eagles' way, and they're trying to recruit them via text or whatever it may be. um, I think that came out and Sneed, put that post up. It might be direct correlation between the two. And the Chiefs may see that. And maybe that's why they pulled the move that they did yesterday with telling them what their plans are for him. Do you
Is he
even
doing what
know?
Yannick did to us a few years back?
It's very possible.
Like try to use us to
Yeah, why not?
build up his value with the team.
Why not? Yeah.
Um, because and this is just pretty smart move on the Chiefs. Like they
Yeah, I think so.
franchise tagged them. Well, here's the thing: it's kind of a
Well,
no, it's kind of a no lose situation. I mean, you know what you're going to have to pay him, which would be close to that. You get another
mhm.
year with him at that price. Time to negotiate with him if he sticks around, and if he doesn't stick around, you have at least the opportunity to match what was offered to him.
Yeah. So, and I know all the details of what was put out yesterday. But What I don't get is they say they're going to use the tag, but he can still talk to other people.
Marshawn. It's a need for Sneed. Yes,
They
absolutely.
they say they're looking or they're planning to franchise tag him, but he's allowed to talk to other teams. He just can't sign the tag. So if they come up with a trade partner, then that means that he has to sign the tag, and then the trade goes to another team where he's tagged, but then they can work on an extension. It's like he has to sign the franchise tag before he can officially be traded.
Yes.
So if he signs the franchise tag and the Chiefs say, sorry, we don't like the compensation from another team, he is now on contract with the Chiefs for a year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of genius.
Yeah.
Even if they want to like backdoor bone him.
They know they're gonna pay for him one way or the other. I know, Joe. I let it slide. I try to let it slide, but you giggled. Marshawn saying Herbert Griffin sounds like a guidance counselor.
I think that's his name.
It's better than backdoor boning, but depending on who you are, I guess. 2024, anything's possible. But no, I mean, yeah, it's genius. They're going to pay him. They know they're going to pay him.
Yeah.
So you know what the franchise tag's going to cost you. So you know at least one more year with him gives you another chance to make another run with a good defense, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't, you get a chance to compensate him. Then he's bought out. Then you have to get traded for him.
There's two things
he gets compensation for him.
There's two things that come with this. And I feel like it does benefit the Eagles a little bit than other teams. Because if you're bringing in Sneed, you're probably cutting James Bradbury. And to save as much as you can, it has to be a post June 1st designation.
Sure.
But with the franchise tag,
still don't understand that totally.
I know. But there's one you can make one cut and have it be posted for June 1st if it's prior to that. But here's the thing is if he's franchise tagged, he has the Jerry Sneed, he has up to like June or July to decide if he wants to sign the tag or if they come up with a long-term option. So it may not work for other teams. The fact that the Eagles kind of have to wait as long as possible to cut James Bradbury, the timing could work out perfect to where if they don't come up with a long-term deal and Sneed becomes available, then the timing of cutting Bradbury is kind of perfect for them. And I think that is something that a lot of teams don't have the the will of to do.
Yeah, no, and Marshawn's asking, is Snead's situation similar to the A.J. Brown when he was in Tennessee? I mean, they franchise tagged him, didn't they? Isn't that what they did with him?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that's what they did. Because if they don't, he goes to free agency, they got nothing out of the deal for him. This is just an easy way to get a free agency. And then...
Well, no, I think he had I'm not...
Or was it 1 year left?
I think he had one year left. He won an extension. And that because once the trade came down, they already had the extension in place for AJ.
Yeah, no,
I could be wrong.
Don't quote me on it, but I wasn't sure about that either. Yeah, Boston Scott and Milton Williams, as you mentioned, guys who reached out to him.
Man.
Who I know, some guy does some good work. We'll give him that. But yeah, I mean that it's going to be interesting. You got the combine. Joe, do you watch the combine at all?
I actually forgot that it started.
Do you?
I used to watch it a lot, but my problem with it now,
I like how they call it the underwear Olympics.
These guys don't come
the ones you want to see. Yeah,
they just come in to talk and get interviewed. Like Caleb Williams.
But did you actually sit and watch like guys running the 40 yards?
Yeah, 100% I did.
You know what? I don't know. Maybe this is where I used to get jaded. I used to say
I'd say probably the past at least two. Definitely this year. I haven't watched a lick of it, but I think the past 2 seasons is where I've kind of like fallen off.
Howie did give up a first and a third for AJ Brown, but was he worth it? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, listen, you didn't go to 2022 doesn't happen without AJ Brown. And
I got a question.
What?
If it comes down to one or the other, you keeping AJ or you keeping Devontae? Devontae.
And I'll tell you why. It's just the age thing, and it's good. You're
AJ Brown's 26.
I know, but you're probably going to have to pay. You're probably going to end up paying Devontae what you're paying AJ now. You're going to have to pay AJ more than he's paying now to stay.
Well, AJ will never get another contract like he has now. 4 years, 100 million, 25 per year.
Yeah,
There's
but
no,
what's he going in his third year now, right?
yeah.
So you have to. This is Devontae's last year, right?
He has
No,
this year
no,
and
he's a
a
first
fifth
round.
year
Duh.
option.
He's a first year.
Yeah, he has
Okay.
a fifth year option.
For
So,
whatever reason, I had him at 4 years.
I mean, if you really want to get nitpicky on it, I mean, they have control over him for like the next 3
I don't
seasons.
think they
Or
signed
Devontae, I should
Devontae
say.
until toward. I think they wait a little bit on him unless they can get him at a good, deal or the
I
extension.
think they do it now.
Or yeah, but the extension is going to kick in after the contract.
Oh well,
Like,
yeah, it
it's
does.
not going
Yeah,
to
it
kick in right
does.
away. Is
Right,
my point.
and with the salary cap expanding, I think this is the time to do it.
Marshawn saying Smitty too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason
Is it because he's homegrown?
a little bit, but I honestly, I don't know. Like it's, I can see
He's so
it.
smooth.
I know
Smitty's smooth.
he is, and he plays like a guy the size of AJ Brown,
Yeah,
and he hangs with him. Like
he's a tough kid.
rarely do you ever see the littleness of Devonta Smith kicking in.
Yeah.
Rarely. Smitty's a big stage, big moment player. I hope Jalen and Smitty can have connection. Now, I'll tell you,
There's no doubt about that. That national championship game when he got injured and he only played the first half. He had like 4 touchdowns and over 200 yards.
yeah,
In the grandest of stages, national championship, and he was setting records in the first half.
yeah, it is pretty crazy. And
I remember watching it and thinking this is the guy they have to get in the first round.
can I also point out, I don't see too much diva with him.
No, I don't either.
And that could change as time goes
Yeah.
on. Don't get me wrong, but I just think like, you brought up John. It wasn't. I think in the beginning it was a good idea, but I don't know. As time is wearing on, it's becoming an issue, or it could become an issue, I should say. Like familiarity connection with him and AJ,
Yeah.
might start biting him in the butt a little bit. I mean, I wonder if that's part of the
I'm
disconnect.
leaning that way as well.
Yeah. So
Because I think that's also kind of what happened with Jalen and Brian Johnson.
yeah,
I think there was too much of a family friendship dynamic to where we did hear little tidbits
Safety
the other
blanket?
day. Yeah, we did hear tidbits the other day how Brian Johnson was kind of intimidated to go over and get in Jalen Hurts' ass and kind of like ream him out or say, hey, do this differently, blah blah blah. Like there was a bit of that going on, and I think that was one of the downfalls of last season. And it could be like you want somebody who is your coach, not your buddy. Like you want somebody
sure.
who can, give you
Well, no, we
give you
want
the
somebody
harsh,
to be
the
like
harsh
that.
facts.
These guys want people to kiss
Well,
their butts.
they want that. We don't.
Yeah. There was another thing that we saw that Howie Roseman, he kind of in his press conference said, it's okay for Nick to work with the young guys.
Yes, yeah.
Why does the GM have to tell you that?
I don't know, and I think that was very telling.
That to me, again, I like Nick Sirianni. I don't think you fire him, but that's another strike against him in my eyes.
I 100% agree with you. And as soon as I heard that, the first person I thought of was Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith was drafted in the first round of last year's draft at pick number 30, and he couldn't barely get on the field. I think that kid is going to be a stud in years to come. I mean, you could almost look at him as kind of like what happened with Brandon Graham. Like it took Brandon Graham like 4 or 5 seasons to really catch on and find his niche in the defense.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't take that long for Nolan Smith. I think Nolan Smith is very, very talented. I think that he is going to be taking strides next season as long as he gets the opportunity.
Somebody asked me, "Are you comfortable if they lose to Son Reddick running with Nolan Smith?" I'm like, "Well, first part,
100%.
First part, it's not going to just be Nolan Smith. Let's just throw that out there. Number two, I am comfortable with letting him off the leash.
100%. And another person you kind of have to feel like this is kind of in a direct correlation to is Keely Ringo.
Yeah,
they traded up to get him last draft. So if you are cutting James Bradbury and saving the money, and you want some of the young guys to play more and develop, I think Keely Ringo has to be your outside guy.
Are you afraid of doing that too much? Like
I don't think so.
I don't
think so because I think this year going in is going to be. I don't think there's going to be huge expectation going into this season.
Marshawn's asking, Brandon Graham greater than Earl Thomas?
Yeah, at this point. Yeah, yes. His the longevity of his career.
Can I ask? Was it just backwards? Like Earl Thomas was better, faster, but didn't last as long. And
Yes.
Brandon just took
Yeah.
longer to get there, but is better long term.
Yeah. And if you just look at them on paper, like the type of person they are, like isn't Earl Thomas like a piece of garbage? And Brandon Graham is one of like the
Yeah,
sweetest guys ever.
yeah. Well, more often than not, Smitty comes up huge and got to have moments. Playoffs last year, he had 2 early TDs against the Giants and Niners. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
and I think one of the things that we're not seeing is like Devontae Smith wants the ball as well.
and the other thing is we know what AJ Brown is, and
Mhm.
which is spectacular.
Yeah.
I think we still haven't seen the full of Devontae Smith, and he's borderline spectacular
I
already.
agree.
So that's the other thing, and I think Joe,
You can't the problem, and the reason I asked you is when it comes down to it, which one you pick in either AJ or Smitty,
yeah,
is because you can't have two wide receivers on your team making
no,
$25 million each.
no. Well,
I mean,
the
you
new
can,
salary
but
cap, yeah,
it's not ideal.
no, because it hurts you in a lot of other areas. Let's ask about some of those areas real quick, Joe. I have a couple things written down here.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going, I'm bargain basement shopping right now.
Okay.
Just trying to find guys who could fill spots. And some of them are not bargain basement spots, but guys might be retreads, whatever you want to call them. Jeremy Chin, little drop off since he started.
I would bring him in.
Would you bring him in? I mean,
100%.
you could probably get him cost effectively.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I'm looking at the PFS that he's dropped off over the last few years, but maybe a change of scenery and a different scheme could happen. But he's only 25.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
But
C-
and that's another guy who went to a piss poor Panthers team, and he was never given the opportunity to shine, much like Brian Burns has. He's been playing great, but it's just it's very similar that these guys are still very young, and they're looking to move on to their second team already.
yeah. Danny, what's up, buddy? Sup, dog?
What up, D-Bombs?
He's saying Nick Sirianni doesn't look like he's seen the bed in weeks. I think that's unless he's talking about.
He's always looked like that.
Yeah, I mean they all roll out of. But I think they sleep in their offices more often than not. If the Eagles move from Hassan and sign Burns, how much does the impact Nolan negatively? No, I don't think so because you have to have more than just one edge rusher,
Right.
and you want somebody who's a vet to work with a guy like Nolan.
And you gotta remember, like we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, is we don't even know the exact defense that Fangio is going to run. Is it going to be 3-4-4-3 hybrid? Where exactly will Hassan be lining up? Where will Noah Smith be lining up? Is it off the edge? Is it back with the linebackers? Like we don't know these answers right now.
Yeah. Boy, Muffler Mike's checking. Good evening, gents. Reminder that Saturday at 1, Wells Fargo Wings face off the Calgary Roughnecks on Marvel Superhero Day. I took my kid to this one last year, and it's really the tickets are very inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
They really do a hell of a thing. They got like guys in like super cool costumes, and he loves Marvel stuff, and I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
And he, I know your boy's into Spider-Man.
My
There was
dude-
a dude doing
my
like
little guy loves this stuff.
backflips and stuff, dude. It's worth the ticket just to take him to see that, even if you don't watch
Is
lacrosse.
that this Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a big win to get back in the NL playoff picture. Are they already in the playoff? I feel like they just started.
I know.
But
Wing
no,
season goes fast.
it does. It catches up. Howie Sidner saying all areas they need help in. Well, I think that was him being snarky a little bit, a little snarky.
Oh yeah,
a little snarkiness.
Yeah.
Let's see. Marshawn saying the 5-man front worked really well for us in 2022.
Oh yeah, but that was also again under a different defensive coordinator. They're on their third defensive coordinator in as many years.
And this was kind of funny though. Pretty cool to see. D'Amico Ryans, as we all know, former linebacker for the Eagles, but also the big time HC from the Texans, who had a nice little playoff run and gave Lamar Jackson at one point some run for his money.
I was rooting for the Texans in the playoffs.
Oh, I said like
I like CJ
once
Stroud.
the Eagles were out, I was like, all right, I'm gonna pick
I can't believe
team.
I'm saying I like CJ Stroud because he's from the garbage Ohio State Buckeyes. But I mean, listen, he's a talented young kid.
Yeah, and sky's the limit. And D'Amico
I love this picture.
D'Amico just seems to get the best out of.
I love Nick in the background with a eating grin on his face, and then you got Big Dom.
Big Dom back there. Nick looks like the kind of guy who goes, yeah, I'm part of the picture too, guys.
Yeah.
Like I'm waiting for come up and Howie just push him away. Yeah. That was cool to see.
Rick should be like,
I've
"Hey,
always
hey,
been
remember that time we beat your ass in the NFC Championship 2 seasons
yeah.
ago?
Well,
You remember that time,
I,
D'Amico?"
I've always been a big fan of D'Amico Ryan. So
Yeah, I got nothing against him.
yeah, like good power to him. Hopefully, outside of against the Eagles, he does well in the NFL season. The sky's the limit with him and that team. And thank God he got away from the Niners when he did. How do you, Joe? How do you go to how do you go to the Super Bowl? And I know we kind of talked about this before.
Yeah.
How do you go to the Super Bowl? Go toe to toe with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes,
Mhm.
and take it to
Lose.
overtime. Take it to overtime and just barely lose.
Let's
And
not
get
forget that they lost
yeah, I'm happy, but still lose your job.
because they're losers.
Niners, man.
What, Steve Wilkes, I'm gonna say his
Yeah,
name is? Yeah.
and I
It's
I
not his fault.
I actually kind of like I used to thought like as an offensive coordinator, but not as a head coach, I like Kyle Shanahan. But I think he's a
Can
dweeb.
we just say that it's Kyle Shanahan's fault? The guy is a curse.
100%.
He's a curse.
He's been cursed since Tom Brady cursed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. So we're talking.
I got pounced.
Rob Thompson needs to be smarter this year.
Thanks to pad load Star Wars.
Yeah. I agree with him. Like I think he needs to be better with his in-game quicker adjustments, not so much the analytical stuff. Like go a little more gut. I think he has. I just think he just either he or they make him rely on that too much. Niners, they have big time losers. Devo can't
Huge
shake
losers.
off press man in the Super Bowl. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, nothing made me happier than watching that happen. When that game started out and the Chiefs kind of looked out of sorts, I'm like, oh,
Can we just be honest? The game sucked.
it did.
The game
Oh yeah.
sucked.
I don't think anybody sat
You know
here.
what game didn't suck? The Super Bowl. Well, okay, the ending sucked.
Yeah, the ending
but
sucked. Yeah.
I mean, that was a pretty exciting game.
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes a shootout. Let's be honest. There was a lot of
100%.
both teams. They kind of shot themselves in the foot, which kind of made. If it was a more defensive, cool over turnovers,
Nobody wants to see a 3-0, a 7-0, 10-0 game. You know,
does
going
Brock
going
Purdy
into the
get
second.
signed like big time deal,
I don't
or
know,
do you
man.
think they move on from Brock too? Does Kyle Shanahan? Did you know what Kyle Shanahan reminds me of?
Maybe
Joe?
they'll trade for Justin Fields.
Kyle Shanahan reminds me of a more successful Chip Kelly. It's my scheme that's the best. I'm the best.
Yeah.
You guys just suck.
Where did Chip go?
Right afterwards or
No.
currently?
He's
USC.
He's the new offensive coordinator for who?
He was at USC, wasn't he?
No, not anymore. I think he's back in the NFL.
Oh, he was Ohio State. He's the offensive
Ohio
now.
State. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Offensive
Now I
coordinator
hate
for
his
Ohio State.
face more than ever.
And Bieniemy went to UCLA.
But he's not offensive coordinator. He's like, I think he's like assistant head coach. Like he's some higher up.
I feel bad for that dude. I really do.
Like what is against him? Like I
like
want
Andy Reid let him go to a lateral position with the Redskins because in my opinion, he felt like he needed to, like he wanted Bieniemy to get out of his own shadow, and that's kind of why he hasn't been able to find these head coaching positions. And then he goes to Washington under duress. Like Washington sucks.
Yeah.
Bieniemy had no shot. He probably thought he was going to go in there and be the bright spot of that offense, showing some creativity, showing that he had the potential to be a head coach. And then they're piss poor. And, and now he has to go to a college route. I mean, I feel so bad for the guy.
Yeah. I mean, there was complaints about him when he was like people were wondering why he didn't get a head coaching job when he left the Chiefs. And then he couldn't get a head coaching job with all offensive genius that he is. There were some complaints about him being kind of a hard guy to deal with, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I hate that. Marshawn said Spags called a great game, and he did. And you know what? It just goes to show Andy Reid the importance of having a long-term defensive coordinator who's just not going to get another job and move on because, he had that when he was here with Jim Johnson, and then now he has it with Spags. I think that's why I know I was kind of like everybody was over the Vic Fangio. But having Vic Fangio here instead of like Vic Fangio light with other people who take pieces of his game and try to make it their own might make it better. But if he sticks, if he's a guy who's going to be sticking around, like I don't think he gets a job any other time outside of
probably not.
So if he can stick around 3 years, that might be the big difference. Danny's pointing out it was Ohio State and Marshawn saying the Buckeyes. Star Wars 99 Phillies need to play small ball. Agreed. I swear the Sixers are the worst collection of contract year
Yo,
players.
I said this to Lex last night as we were watching the Sixers game. I was saying,
Thanks for the changeover, Marshawn.
regardless of Embiid being injured, they should still give him the MVP award, because if there's ever been a case to show what a player means to their team, it's this case right now.
Yeah.
Because they went from a top 3 team in the East, battling, playing great.
Keep your head above water.
Yeah. We would have been the scoring champ again. He probably would have been the reigning MVP regardless.
Yeah.
And then he gets injured, and the Sixers are like, I think, like 6-16 since he's been gone.
No.
Like,
For all
there's
those
never been
trade
more of a
Embiid
case.
people, you can get 20 first-round picks and never get another Joel Embiid.
The league should still give him the MVP, because there's
Because
never been
he should
a
win the
better
MVP
showing
of
of
the-
what a player means to a team.
He should be the MVP of the Sixers at the very least. Because I mean, this team is night and freaking and nothing against Tyrese Maxey.
No,
but
not at all.
I believe we had the quote here. Let's see if I have it up. I forget.
From Batum.
Yeah, I had it somewhere around here, but I don't know what I do with it.
He basically goes on to say that they can't rely on Tyrese Maxey to score 50 points a game.
Yeah.
It's not realistic. They have to find a way to get some wins. He listed a couple of things that they need to do. Not be a one pass team. You know, and he's not wrong. He's absolutely right. It's just they just don't have enough talent. I don't know why. I hate saying it like that, because I really do like everyone on this team. I think that they've been plagued with injuries outside of even Embiid, because Melton was out for a period of time. I mean, they just been. It's not good this season.
No, and
They might not make the playoffs.
Here's my thing:
I'm being for real.
Can I just say this without?
They're not good.
I've been getting roasted for my take lately on this, and
Okay.
I don't want them to. And not even I don't want them to. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to see Embiid back. I don't want to see Embiid back. If there's unless the doctors can guarantee me that he can't re-injure this again, I don't want to see him back. From what we saw last year and the beginning of this year, if we can have a healthy knee with Embiid and he can stay healthy outside of his freak little injuries like orbital fractures and all that stuff, and we can get back and we have
it was orbital fractures back-to-back playoffs.
I know, but
like, that's the type of luck this guy has.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
But like to have him healthy and then have a whole offseason to get better, to bring in some, they're gonna have a ton of space now. Goodbye Tobias Harris at that point. You're gonna open all up. I know I always say I like Tobias Harris, but I'm done with he's my Reese Hoskins. I'm over the Tobias.
They should have traded. I don't know why they didn't trade him.
Is it just ironic that he bought a company called Crumble? Because that's what he's doing right now. I mean, just throwing that out there.
This is another sign of the luck that the Sixers have. They trade. They get Kyle Lowry on the buyout.
Yeah.
They give all this time until after the All-Star game to bring him for his first appearance.
Mm-hmm.
First game, he takes an elbow to the head, has to get stitches, and it's in the shape of a 7, which is the number he's wearing.
Yeah.
Like first freaking game of Kyle Lowry, and he's already in the tunnel getting stitches in the design of his own number. Like, it's you can't write this stuff.
They 3D printed Joel's new meniscus. It has that new meniscus smell. Marshawn, always good for a laugh too. I want to see Andrew Painter play in the major.
What are we doing here? This is all we've gone off the rails, Al.
Star Wars. You got to wait till 2025. For that, bro.
Andrew Painter isn't even in
he had Tommy
realm
John surgery
of pitching this season.
He probably won't be able to throw a pitch until September at best.
Yeah, and that is another blunder on the Phillies. Why they waited so long for this kid to get Tommy John? It was the first preseason game.
He would have lost.
The first preseason game of last season.
Yeah, we would have missed out this year on him.
Yes,
I mean, last year.
He would have been
last year.
He would have been pitching in the first game of this preseason. They waited 5 months into the regular season to say that this kid was getting Tommy John surgery. What was the holdup? Huge mistake on the Phillies' part.
It was criminal, Joe.
It was
criminal.
criminal.
You know what you call when you have these problems?
David R. Cherry.
David R. Cherry. That's right. Get hurt at work, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law. You call Dave Cherry at 565-0300. Go to cherryinjurylaw.com. When you get these life-altering moments, you need to make good, quick decisions. Dave Cherry's there to back you up and take care of you, all your legal needs. Workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law, cherryinjurylaw.com. Go to cherryinjurylaw.com or call David R. Cherry at 610-565-0300. Yeah, Joe, I mean, like, listen, he already missed this whole season anyway, so he would have had him get the Tommy John surgery, be done with it, and he probably would
You
have
think he
been.
could swing a bat like Otani? Maybe that's what
Yeah,
he meant
that's
by
what
he
it
wants
is.
to see him in
Well,
the
I mean, think
majors.
about it. If you wait the beginning of the season, that means he would have been a whole year about now.
Yeah.
So he still would have missed most of this
Still,
year.
still,
Yeah.
I don't know. Bryce Harper came back after 4
Yeah,
months.
but he's not throwing baseballs 100 miles per
That's
hour.
true. That is fair.
That's the difference.
They
The
didn't
pitcher.
even want Bryce throwing from right field.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're 100% on
The
that.
Sixers organization had Dr. J, Moses Malone, Barkley, AI, Joel, Wilt, and they have one ring to show for it since 1983. That's criminal.
I think that is a great example of saying, you know, Embiid could be the best player on the planet, but it doesn't matter like how much talent he has if the team can't play around him and be successful.
Can I just say, if I see Paul George in a Sixers uniform next year, I'm gonna vomit.
I'm not gonna lie, I would take him.
Yeah, but he's always talking guy's always injured.
Yeah,
and he's about 87 years old. I mean, what's he, 30? I mean, it's like,
yeah.
we're gonna go get a 33-year-old guy. Oh, we're gonna give him a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
No,
You gotta look at what the Clippers have been doing with these old farts. I mean, they've been playing pretty well.
Yeah, let's talk about at the end of the season when these guys all fall asleep after their lunch.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying about Embiid not coming back unless you can get a surefire guarantee from a doctor. I think you can get a surefire guarantee from a doctor saying that it will be the healthiest Joel Embiid we've ever seen in the playoffs.
Sure, probably.
I don't think there's any guarantee that any player cannot injure anything ever again.
Bryce, first baseman. Thank you very much for pointing that out.
When that
happened? Paul George will be 34 in May.
Wow, yeah, I ain't signing that.
Yeah.
That guy.
And I mean,
he'd be going on to his like third or fourth team too.
No, thank you. Just no, thank you. I can't. I just, they gotta stop doing it. James Harden, bring in young guys that go around and who can facilitate around Joel Embiid. And I
Maybe
don't
just tank the season and get a lottery pick.
Whatever about the lottery pick, but just get through it. Get him healthy. Don't let something bad happen to Maxey or one of these guys that are going to be here next year. Go get all these guys off your paycheck or your payroll, and then let's sign some real good players.
You know what's odd is the Sixers still have 2 open roster spots. Well, I don't know what they're doing, and apparently the Spurs are holding Marcus Morris pretty much hostage for whatever reason. Like I don't know what's happening, but like there's other players that should have been bought out already, and they just haven't been for whatever reason. So I don't know if the Sixers are just waiting for some of these players to possibly become available. I don't know if there is a statute in a buyout, type of thing. I don't know if they can still be. There might be, just a time frame.
I think the buyout has to happen by March 1st.
Okay. Well, what the hell is the point of keeping 2 open roster spots?
I don't know if they have the horses in the barn, and maybe they still want to bring up the young guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't bring Korkmaz back. He doesn't have a team.
I mean, maybe it's because you kind of shorten the roster come playoff time. But if you may not even
and
make
I think
the
it
playoffs,
has something to do with if you sign them to a contract too. You would have to sign these guys to a contract, and it costs you more money.
Yeah, but
if you bring them up from the G League, I mean, that's why they signed that. What's his name? The 10-day
Turk.
Yeah, no, not Turk. No. The guy they just brought up.
Ricky Council.
No. I don't want to say.
The Sixers didn't.
10-day contract. I can't. Why am I completely? We posted too. Baisley. That's it. Baisley.
Oh, okay.
They signed him to a 10-day contract because that 10 days will be up before March 1st. And
you gotta think that there's another.
If they had a buyout guy, they would buy him out. Then they could send him back down without having to sign him to the full contract.
So they're lucky that it's a leap year, and they have 29 days in this month because now they have another day to figure out what the hell are we doing.
His name is, you can call me Darius Baisley, because not many guys in Philly like to be called Darius when they're named Darius.
just call me Basil.
But I don't think he even played much. Honestly, I don't think he played much at all.
Yeah.
But so that came in because that allowed them to sign him there, and if they did buy out somebody or make an addition of somehow, then they can.
I just
ship him
don't
back down.
see the benefit of keeping open roster spots. What if they get somebody in here who just absolutely lights the court on fire? I mean, they got to be doing something. There has to be something going down the next day or two.
Yeah, that's a question. That is a question.
I know. I just said it.
I
I formed it as a question.
know, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know why they do. I don't know it. Trade Paul Reed for a healthy meniscus. Can I ask a question? Everybody loved Paul Reed because they hated Doc Rivers. Because he was unwilling to give him the time, and then when he did well, he was a snarky douche about it. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Still shocked they gave him that that qualifying offer or whatever it is.
5 years today, Bryce joined. Okay, 5 years ago. I got you. Yes, that's his anniversary, and he wants a contract extension.
Wow.
Joe, I never got your input on that. We'll talk about that. We're gonna hit the Flyers real quick.
Yeah. I think they're going to do it anyway.
Victory, yeah, it's a victory lap.
Yeah, I remember Doc saying that.
Yeah.
Victory tour.
Yeah, no, but I think because it's not that big of a deal. It became a lap.
Got you. Would I extend Bryce Harper? I mean, I think they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're gonna, if like, it depends. Like if he's looking for another 5 years, then absolutely not. If it's another 2 or 3 slapped onto the back of a 13-year and it's an additional 20. Like this is the thing. You're basically extending him for him not to play.
Yeah.
I don't even he's not going to play at least.
Or he'll be Kyle Schwarber at that point. He'll be DHing.
I don't see him what's he going to be 40 if they tack 3 years on. He's 43?
Mm-hmm.
Or he will be 43?
3 years? No, because he's going to be 38, right? When he gets the end of this.
Okay, so he'll be 41, depending on how long you're
He'll
extending.
be as old as we are now, Joe. Make that.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I don't see him playing baseball at 41.
Yeah, he'll be. Or we said there's how many years left? There's 5 years.
There's 8 years. 8 years left on the contract.
Oh, 8 years. I'm sorry. So yeah, he'll be 39.
He'll be 39. Okay,
39.
So 42 if they slap 3. I don't see him playing baseball at age 42. So
I think he does. I think he thinks he's the Tom Brady of baseball. He's
I see like we remember Ryan Howard's bloated contract and then he had his Achilles and he never came back the same player. And then I think the final year of his contract, he wasn't even on the roster, but he was getting paid $25 million. That's the way I look at the end of Bryce Harper's contract going. I don't see him playing until he's 40 years old.
You don't think?
I think
this is how I fix the problem.
Even if they just keep it at the 8 years, I think the final 2 years of the contract, he's not even playing baseball. They're just paying him.
I think this is how I fix the problem. If I'm upper management, if I'm Middleton and Dombrowski, I'd sit down with my accountants, my nerds. I say, break out the calculators. Why don't we give a bigger piece of merch?
Can you do that?
Why not?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
I was saying give him or I don't know if you can. I guess you can't change the contract to add incentives or anything and very easily attainable incentives because it's not about a cap at this point.
You know what I would do. You know what I do.
Do it, Tom Brady. Him. This is what you do. Sign him to $1 billion contract deal for news broadcasting for after he finishes his contract with us.
This is what I would do. I would extend them, but I would put conditions on it. It would be club options. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't think they can just flat out give them an extra 3 years of money when they probably don't even have a real, they don't have real faith in him playing that long. I think it's very hard for anybody to believe that somebody's going to be playing, when they're 42. I know that there are players who do it.
You give him a GM contract and make him the next thing because
he's already the GM.
But that's what I'm saying. Let him pay him that way. After his contract's up, we'll give you a
Like, I
GM
don't know.
contract
I don't know
because
how
the GMs
creative
don't
they
do
can
any.
get with this stuff.
But I'm just saying the GM. It's like, listen, you don't get an extension. We're going to sign you to the GM contract with the Phillies as soon as your contract with us is done. Because listen, the GM does nothing.
Yeah.
It's the operations. It's like basketball. Who's our GM, Joe?
Of
Flood, right?
who? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how often we talk about him? It's Dombrowski,
Never.
Dombrowski, Dombrowski.
Yeah.
You know, let him go be the GM of the
Well,
Sixers.
well,
They don't do nothing.
I was going to say it's very similar to the Sixers. We know
Elton
Elton Brand
Brand.
is the
Did
GM,
you see
but
the
it's all Daryl Morey, Daryl Morey, Daryl Morey.
Elton Brand didn't flinch when he gave Tobias max money. Oh God,
That's still kicking a dinghy.
dude, that was like I think he's shocked he got the job still.
He
Like,
should be.
what does he do? Like, you when they asked Nick Sirianni in the press conference, so what do you do? And I always go back to that Office Space
Yeah, that
moment.
was a good
I'm
one.
a people person. I deal with the people. Like, that's what I see with Elton Brand.
Yeah.
You know, like Sam was it Sam Fold or whatever I say his name right?
Flood.
Right? Yeah. Same thing. I'm a people person. I deal with the people. You know, like no, it's Dombrowski. I mean, the operations
Well,
guy.
before there was a Dombrowski, there was a Matt Klentak, and we did know his name and see him. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different situation. It's the Sixers and the Phillies have the same exact situation when it comes to their GMs.
Let's just move on real quick, Joe.
Yeah.
Flyers.
Screwed.
Cal Peterson gone or
Waived.
or whatever it is you call it. Thank God. Move on from him. I wanted them to bring up one of their younger goalies to give him a chance because he was not the future. Just move on from it.
You know, he really boned us in that Pittsburgh game the other day.
Yeah, and then
The Flyers score 7 goals. 6 or 7 goals.
7.
7 goals.
No, they scored 6. Pittsburgh scored 7.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They scored 6 goals and they couldn't come out with a dub.
Yeah. And then they had a great game against New York prior to that.
Mhm.
They were able to. That was like a playoff game, dude. That was fun to watch. That was in the afternoon to watch the Flyers.
Yeah,
hockey.
I was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
We were watching at section 771.
Yeah, and great place too, by the way.
Awesome place. Yeah. They almost pulled that out at last seconds too.
What?
The Flyers.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually
Or at least tied it up last second.
Well, I doing the post game with that one, I said like they had opportunities they just couldn't capitalize on.
Sure.
They whiffed on some pucks. They clanked some pucks. They had
Fight of the year.
They had and against probably one of the best goalies in the NHL right now. So
the Rangers always fall ass backwards.
That Pittsburgh game was on
goalies.
Cal Peterson. They lost that because of Cal Peterson.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, they should have never lost that one.
You mean you're talking Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a big win against Tampa, which is one of the
Mhm.
top teams in the NHL as well. Really, I think I like from what I saw from that the way they bounced back, the way they, they didn't let that kind of linger
Sure.
in the back of their head a little bit. So I'm high on them. The Cutter injury, or not the Cutter, Cutter's gone. The Drysdale injury, couple injuries really are just hampering them right now.
That situation is kind of pissing me off because they're saying he's week to week. They don't know if he's even going to come back this season, but they won't tell us what the injury is unless it's come out and I just missed it. They're still saying it's an undisclosed injury.
Yeah.
If it's that severe, tell us what the hell it is.
And just do what you're supposed to do. Shut him down, get him to surgery, let him rehab, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And because
this but I will say this helps them so much.
What do you mean?
Because a major piece is out for them, so I think this gives them more of a reason to become sellers.
Yeah, and I didn't even say. I keep saying this. I don't have to say. I don't want to just label sellers and buyers.
Yeah,
I just want you to do something that's going to be good for the future. So if you're going to buy something that's here long term, not just some vet that's going to be here for one.
They're saying Sean Walker. They're saying regardless of what Drysdale's injury is, but they were saying this before we knew the timeline. They were saying Sean Walker still has to be dealt, and I don't know
because they're not going to sign him back.
Right.
So Scott Lawton, they're asking a lot for him.
But if you want to, and to your point, you're saying you don't want to label it buyers, sellers, retool, rebuild. If you want to stay in this realm of you are rebuilding, but you're also contending at the moment as well, you have to think that the Drysdale injury would affect the willingness to trade a defenseman in Sean Walker.
Yeah. You would think, but again, maybe they're willing just to bring somebody up and let the rest of the season just play out the way it does. That's why they don't care.
Yeah.
And I think that's been maybe you don't like it, but we all talk about these teams not being transparent. Marshawn saying CIA raked all the injury updates for Philly teams. Um, but like, just do what's best for the team. Don't go and get rid of a guy for a 1 year, year and a half rental,
Right.
just because you think you have a cup run. I mean, I'm not trying to say they couldn't make some like lightning in a bottle if they
Yeah.
make the cup. Hey, if you have a chip, you have a chance. You always say chip in a chair, you have a chance. But
The hell did you just say?
a chip in a chair, like say it's a
But if you
poker.
have a chair, you have a chip.
If you have a chip in a chair, you have a
A chip in a
chance.
chair, you have a chair and a
Yeah.
chance.
Yes.
What about the chest?
I don't know who said anything about chess. It's a
Sorry.
poker term.
Sorry.
But no, I'm just saying, like, that's what I would do. Like if you're gonna do that, just whatever's best for the future. If you're gonna bring somebody in, make sure somebody's gonna be here for a few years and
Yeah,
make this team better.
but I hate the thought of them trading somebody who is young-ish,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't see him being a part of the plan 3 seasons from now. I don't think that's right. Like I still think that if it's not a complete rebuild, you should still keep some of these guys, even if you don't think that they're going to be here 5 years down the road.
Yeah. He wants to know if Matvey Michkov is going to be. I have to imagine with the way Russia is, we're probably looking at least one more season without him.
I can see that, yeah. And plus, if the Flyers are saying and continuing
And
to
that's
say,
the Russian guy you're talking about because there's a Russian goalie too. So I don't know.
yeah. If the Flyers are sticking to this, we don't really expect to be real contenders for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is they're saying at the moment. What's the point of bringing in Michkov over?
Yeah, I think there's a
He's
point.
not going to go to the Phantoms and play.
No, I think if you could bring him in and play with him now, but I mean, if you don't have to,
He's like what? He's 19. He's young as nuts.
yeah, I mean, probably if not 20. It's close to that. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. It's about.
I think he's 19. Why don't
Yep,
I see
19.
that? That should be on that logo or that picture.
Yeah, but I mean, he's killing it.
Oh, I know.
49 games, 19 goals, 22 assists, 41 points in
Jesus
49
Christ.
games. Yo,
It's
can't ask for much more than that. Somehow a -6 though.
Yeah, we're kind of lucky that all that crap was going over on in Russia, and they weren't getting like
We're kind of
coverage.
lucky.
Yeah, they weren't getting like the sports coverage and and everything because this kid, I mean, from everything I've heard, this kid is arguably he should have been right behind Connor Bedard. Like he should have been number 2 picked, but
Yeah.
because his tape wasn't out there for all to see. I mean, the Sixers, the Flyers really lucked out drafting him at number 7.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was just a perfect storm in the sense that nobody wanted to wait 3 years for their guy to come here.
Exactly.
The Sixers they know they have the time on their hands.
Flyers.
Or Sixers, yeah, Flyers. Flyers know they have the
did it.
time on their hands to wait to bring him in. It was just a perfect match for him. Hopefully he wants to play for us.
I remember my cousin Matt. We were texting about the NHL draft, and the first thing he said was, "Bring me the Russian." And this kid, and he knows hockey. He
I'll
grew up.
break him.
Yeah, you know my cousin Matt.
Yeah.
He knows everything about
He's a
hockey.
hockey head.
He said, direct quote, "Bring me the Russian."
Bring me the Russian.
And then he got drafted at number 7, and I texted Matt and I said, "Can you believe that they got him?" And he's like, "What?" He goes, "How the hell did he drop to 7?"
I think it's just people wanted somebody who could start when you're drafting that higher up, somebody who could start within that year and the next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they knew that wasn't going to happen with him. They weren't willing to take that chance on him. And power to the Flyers. I'm going to say the Sixers again. Power to the Flyers for doing it. Also, speaking of Flyers, I will be on the post game this Friday. Flyers Capitals with Mikey Lauro. Me and Mikey Lauro will be doing that together, probably from the studio right here. So stay tuned for that. Plenty of stuff coming up here at EoP, guys, as well. Actually, if I had that already, that'd be a good idea, but not good at this. You think I'd be? I'm like, I get all cocky. I'd be honest with you. I get all cocky because I'm like, you know what? I got all this set up. I got everything ready. I'm good to go, and then I forget, like the lineup card, something important. So there's your lineup card, guys. Tonight it was, of course, Philly Press Box Radio kicking it off. Bob Brookover from NJ.com was on with them tonight, so you can check out the podcast for that. Of course, me and Joe here at EoP Live. And then tomorrow, I have the wrong time. I'm sorry. It's 7:15. It's Fly Like an Eagle podcast, and then the Attacking Third. And then the rest of the weekend we have Flyers, Flyers, Sixers post game shows, as well as great other shows like Steel Steps, First Blast, and PM in the AM. So, Joe, anything you want to any parting words?
I just can't wait for March 28th to get here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I just can't
Um,
wait.
I already got my time locked in. I will be back in the saddle
Back in
again.
the booth.
I'll be there the Sunday that weekend for the
Okay.
Sunday game.
I'll be there. I'll be there for sure Saturday night.
Yeah, I think I'm going on. I think now since I didn't get the booth that night, I'm probably going to go to the game. I don't know if I'll be able to go to the home opener this year. Blah blah blah. All
I
that
got
stuff.
tickets, but I don't think I'm going.
And EoP will be down at the bank on May 3rd.
That's right.
So if you want to join us, and we might have some tickets to give away, guys. So stay tuned for that. So you guys can come party with not just me and Joe, but the whole EoP crew. A party and friends and family of ours as well. So you check that out. I want to thank our great sponsors over at cherrystickets.com, cherryinjurylaw.com, phillysportstrips.com, and Dolan's Bar.
And don't forget to check out EoPsports.com.
EoPsports.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Growing every day. Check it out. We've actually been putting out draft and free agency.
Mm-hmm.
We had a whole video. Dive did a great job at just putting all these videos of free top position players in the draft. So if you want to like kind of watch some videos real quick, you get spend like a half hour watching a bunch of videos and like talk eloquently at the water cooler with your buddies at work, you can look like a really smart dude. So check it out. Go to our YouTube channel or EoPsports.com for all that you need. I'm Big Al.
I'm Joey Sheeran.
And we out.